Hi, and welcome to Button Bash. Abyss Odyssey, the latest game from ACE Team, is a weird mishmash of other familiar games. There are elements of Dark Souls, Super Smash Bros., Spelunky, and a handful of other things that make this creative roguelike 2D platform game. I played it on PC, though it is also available on PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360. In Abyss Odyssey, you can play as 3 separate characters who each have their own abilities, but all follow the same story. That of taking down a warlock who has fallen into a deep sleep and is dreaming of an abyss full of monsters that are coming to life and terrorizing cities on the surface. The abyss basically plays out like a seemingly infinite dungeon with a plethora of different environments and weird, unexpected enemies until you finally level up enough to reach the sleeping warlock at the bottom. The first thing you'll notice about the abyss is that it's full of platforms, or chunks of land to jump between, and there's usually one high route and one ground route. Some platforms move, some are littered with enemies, some have chests that you can't yet open, and some of the gaps between will kill you if you don't quite make it. It feels different to most platformers though, not only because the abyss is fully randomized every time you enter it, but also because of that Dark Souls, Super Smash Bros. Style combat that you'll engage in along the way. The combat has a perfect balance between blocking and attacking, with a need for really specific timing. You can't just spam attacks here, and the enemies you'll face are both relentlessly aggressive and really quick. I actually like this in a weird way. Maybe it's just that the game is a side-scroller, but as soon as an enemy sees you, they're so quick to run at you that it's almost like they're excited. Like they've just been waiting for their chance to fight someone for their entire lives, or just throw themselves across a platform to get at you. It's sweet, really. You can also buy weapon upgrades, and there's a skill tree that helps you unlock new moves, as well as enemies dropping a handful of items, as well as health. Most of the items are extremely forgettable actually, but useful all the same. Or maybe they would be if the game didn't feel so easy most of the time. Usually there's more than one enemy hanging around though, and one of the most frustrating parts of the game is actually trying to hit them. Now this isn't always an issue, but enemies can jump over the top of you or get behind you almost seamlessly, and half the fight is actually trying to turn around to do some damage while your character is still trying to execute a particularly slow attack with nobody left in front of them. And the problem isn't that you spammed attacks, the game just feels kind of sluggish at times. Luckily, you can do some of the same evasion stuff, including completely run away from some fights, but blocking will be your best friend. You can dash in certain directions too, and while the game is on PC, I would definitely recommend hooking up a controller for this one if you will be playing it on the PC. Not all of the fights are hard, but there are random bosses littered throughout the levels who will clean you up pretty quick if you aren't paying close attention, just to have you spawn back at one of the campsites. Wait, sorry, this isn't Dark Souls, I mean shrines, they're called. If you don't die though, one particularly cool feature of the game is the ability to absorb the souls of creatures you've killed and transform into them in future fights, like your Kirby. You can do this with over 30 enemy types, as long as you have enough mana to do so, and it's awesome every time. On the other hand, one thing that sucks the entire way through is the use of lifts, or moving platforms. You have to double jump to get onto a moving platform, much like Super Smash Bros. Of course, but it could take you 20 times of attempting the same jump before it actually works. Hey, maybe I'm just inept here, but it never really felt like it was my fault. I just kept jumping at different times, but seemingly correct times, and kept falling back down through the platforms in question, even though my character was visibly above it. Not great. Overall though, it's a really enjoyable Frankenstein monster of a game, but never feels like it's directly ripped anything off. It's creative, it's pretty, the music is great, and the combat really surprised me considering the style of the game. It has its flaws, but for the most part, they're easily ignored. Abyss Odyssey is currently available on PC, Xbox 360, and PlayStation 3. I'm Alanah, and thanks for watching Button Bash.